Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of Better Call Saul Season 6, Episode 4, titled Hit and Run, directed by Ray Seahorn. What an imaginative episode this was. This was really funny, actually. Like, I laughed a lot in this episode.
They just needed to call it Everyone Knows It's Wendy because I cannot see that Wendy character at all anymore without hearing that song, Thank You, Breaking Bad.
Wendy had herself quite a ride in this
Oh my
episode,
goodness.
to say the least. Like that,
She got rolled out of that car so hard.
I have a very embarrassing confession to make in this video alongside don't worry, it's nothing to do with Wendy herself, but like involving that whole sequence. But I love this episode. It was a nice change of pace from like having our hearts ripped out over Nacho being killed last time.
Yeah, no, I love watching Jimmy and Kim scheme, so this
Yeah.
was great.
Well, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you love watching us scheme and talk about the world of this show, because we are here after every episode breaking things down.
And also follow us over on Instagram at Matt and Jess TV.
Okay, let's just get the embarrassing confessional out of the way here.
I need to hear this confession.
So, for about the first 30 seconds or so, we saw Jimmy slash Howard, aka Joward. I didn't realize it was Bob Odenkirk. Like, I didn't really even know who that was. Like,
he did a good job
yeah,
then.
somehow, guess what? You managed to fool me, Jimmy McGill. Maybe it's because I'm legally blind and I can't determine the difference, but I was just like, who is this dude that I'm guessing Jimmy hired to do this? I didn't really realize until I zoomed in more on like the fake tan and the. This was so insane. Like, how much product did you buy for this, Jimmy?
Oh man, that self tanner was quite a bit. No, this scam was so good. They have been setting it up already this season that they want to give Howard sort of this drug problem and he's doing all these really shady things. And so far, what they've been trying to plant, it just hasn't been working. Cliff is not buying it. This, however, though, it was kind of like, okay, maybe he needs to see it with his own eyes. And so we've got Howard in therapy of all the things. This show makes me feel bad for him, but not that bad.
Yeah.
Kind of bad. He's in therapy. He's trying to get well. And we've got Jimmy outside dressed like him, stealing his car, picking up Wendy, and driving past Cliff and Kim, and then just kicking her out of the car. And you're yelling. Oh my God, it was put together so well.
This was so funny. I feel so bad that I laughed as much as I did at this entire exchange, because between Wendy's like screams of peril, the car's just like whipping around in every direction, like Jimmy had no idea how to drive it. Like after the fact with the patient sign that he's yanking out of the ground and moving and like all of this, like Ray did a great job directing this whole sequence because it was paced so well. It was so funny, but it's also so indicative of where Jimmy is at. I will say this as well. What you could have told me, like anything as about what Jimmy was going to do with this car. I did not think it was going to be this. I thought he was just going to plant something in there to further along the drug habit, not toss Wendy out of it.
No, I did not see this coming. I didn't know that the Wendy character was going to be brought onto this show at all, which was a really nice surprise.
I just think this was just such a fun moment, but also a really important one, because clearly the plan here is, all right, we're not just going to do like one huge thing to destroy Howard that could kind of risk us getting caught, but if we just do a number of medium-sized things to Howard, that can get the ball rolling.
Although I think throwing Wendy out of the car and driving off is kind of a little higher than medium size, but that's all. This is me.
Okay, I have a weird, apparent sort of sense here of petty crimes. I'm just saying, I don't trust me to be a lawyer.
Let's talk about Jimmy for a second, because he was having a really bad day at the court. He was getting really targeted by like everybody there.
Yeah.
Nobody was having his beanie babies. Nobody was letting him go on through. Even Bill was just like, no, I'm not having it. Nobody wants to sit with him. And it finally sort of comes out that they all know now that Lalo wasn't who he said he was, and that Jimmy knew new. This rumor has really spread.
And I think this makes perfect sense that they would react to Jimmy in this way, because sooner or later this stuff's going to come back on him, and we know it does in Breaking Bad, but it's sort of a road to get there. Yeah, Jimmy may make a lot of money as Saul, but he also makes a lot of people hate him who are trying to do the right thing when it comes to being a practicing lawyer. And that includes making the right relationships and not trying to play dirty all the time. But I did love I'm pulling up the Beanie Baby. I don't have any arms. How can I do? And they're like, even and then they're just slamming the close sign down on him.
It seems to be all working out for him, though, because as a friend of the cartel, when he got back to the nail salon, man, it was jammed. Word has spread, not just through the courthouse, but through everywhere, that he is Salamanca's guy, and everybody wants that guy. So business is booming for him.
Congratulations, Jimmy. You have managed to assemble like the Avengers of terrible criminals in Albuquerque who now all want to be your friend. And now we also have to pour one out for the nail salon.
Yeah.
Such a valuable part of this show for so many years.
Yeah, no, she's kicked him out. And, I understand. I mean, what are you going to do, right? Like, she's got to run a business too.
Yeah, nobody is faulting her for her decision here. You walk into all these shady characters just wandering around.
Okay, so speaking of shady characters wandering around, we also had everything that was going on with Kim. She knew she was being followed.
Yeah.
Wendy thought that maybe it was cops that were kind of trolling around her. Turns out, no. So she finally goes up to these two guys and is just like, listen, you need to tell me who you are. You following me? They're not going to tell her. They drive off. And then we see this really great scene with her and Mike at the diner.
It's crazy to me that we are in season 6, everyone. 6. And this is the first substantial real scene between Kim Wexler and Mike Ehrmantraut that we have had.
Yeah, I mean, she called it out and was like, hey, I know you. You used to work at the courthouse, at the parking. And he's like, yeah, I did, but I don't now. Now I have guys following you around because we're in this situation where we don't think that Lalo is dead. We are pretty sure that he is not. And if he's going to maybe possibly contact you guys, we need to know. So just pretend my guys aren't there because we need to get to Lalo and it will all work out for everybody. But at the same time, you gotta kind of think about, is it really going to work out for everybody? Because Saul's doing so well now because he's a friend of the cartel. Yeah, it's a dangerous spot to be in, but his business is booming. And that's where it puts Kim in this really kind of interesting spot because she decides by the end of this episode not to tell Jimmy about her meeting with Mike or that Lalo might still be alive or any of this stuff. She's really playing out all the cards to see where they're going to fall before she's, stepping further into it.
I think Mike really got through to her as well with him saying that, you're made of harder stuff than he is. Yep. And I think she recognizes that this would probably cause him to panic in a very particular way. Yep. And I gotta say, just in general, Kim may also be made of tougher stuff than me because it's like...
she is more than me, 100%. Like, if someone was following me, I would not be going up to the car. No way. I'd never leave my house again.
I would never be all right either with you just go about your life. It's like, that's my life where I'm just going to be followed by you people for, who knows how long? That's not a life.
Well, to be fair, Mike kind of was like, and, you guys are doing some stuff that you don't want people to find out about. So you'll just let them follow you around. It'll all be okay.
Mike. Okay. No, I mean,
blackmail. It works.
What lessons have we learned today, kids, from Better Call Saul? No, I did love this scene, though, because both Mike and Kim are extremely smart, savvy people. I think they both sort of understand how leverage works, and they're both able to sort of use this. But the one thing that does, and this is not even a criticism of the episode, it's just a criticism in my mind, is that I was so hoping that whoever was following Jimmy and Kim would give us some sort of clue as to what was potentially setting up her end game. Now I feel like we're sort of a little bit back at square one, unless somebody like Mike or Gus is responsible for what happens to Kim. I don't really have a good sense of anything anymore.
It's really hard to know. I mean, we've talked about a little bit about some of our theories of what we think, might be happening. I personally feel that Kim is not going to make it out of this show alive. And, I think that it's probably actually going to have to do with the cartel that's going to end up getting her killed and ending up in a situation where then Saul really breaks bad and just becomes Saul, and he's just sort of lost. Jimmy is lost.
I think it's going to be really difficult over these next couple of episodes to see how things unfold, but also how attached Jimmy gets to this idea of being Saul Goodman, of being this character who is so successful and got his office with the toilet in the middle of it, and like has all these things sort of going for him, because with bigger risks come bigger downfalls. And, I think one wrong client could have somebody with a cartel taking out Kim, or could have Kim being thrown under the bus, or I think whatever happens to Kim at this point, I think we can all believe that it's somehow due to something that Jimmy does.
Yeah, I mean, well, partially what Jimmy does. She is fully eyes open, knows what's happening going into this. There in no way is she going into this without seeing exactly what is happening here. So we'll see sort of how it ends up coming together. But, we see that Mike really is following every single lead he possibly could. We saw the whole scene at the beginning with the two people on the bike and the surveillance of the neighborhood and what's going on with Gus is getting, protected. It's just, there's a lot of irons in the fire right now to make sure that they can get their hands on Lalo. And that's the thing, is he's a really smart Lalo. He's really not going to pop up in a way that they're going to find him, because I had thought that the person he was probably going to get in touch with was going to be Kim, more so necessarily than Jimmy, probably both, but that it was going to be Kim. That scene where she stood up to him and they really had their face to face, there was a real respect between him and her at that point, where she was kind of like, okay, maybe we are going to be friends of the cartel. I think that I can handle this. And if I can handle it, you'll be all right too, Jimmy, kind of thing. And I think that Lalo does appreciate that they were able to do what they did to get him off.
I think if Lalo shows back up, he's probably not going to do it directly. I think he's probably going to figure out some sort of intermediary, some sort of person that can be a go-between who some of these other characters don't quite know a lot about. Because we saw, like, even in this episode, how paranoid Gus is about every single thing, even including making sure he's got the right people working his Los Pollos Hermanos, because even if the wrong person doesn't make the chicken right, then something's going to look off with the chicken restaurant. It's like, this man's thinking of everything.
And that makes sense. You sort of look around where he is, and everything in his Tupperwares, everything is perfectly like labeled, his Rubbermaid bins, his closet, everything has to be perfect. That's what we know of Gus from Breaking Bad and here with Saul. So, I mean, that makes sense that if the quality of his chicken starts to go down, I mean, he's going to lose money. He's going to lose customers. People do that. It's where it's like, oh, they changed the fries at this joint. Okay, well, now I'm not interested anymore.
I just really like how this show is seemingly trying to think of everything. And I think 99% of the time with any sort of crime-related show, you have a couple of characters who are outright morons. I don't think there's a lot of morons in the room with Better Call Saul. I mean, Jimmy is maybe a little bit naive at times, but, he's not stupid. Kim is incredibly smart.
Yes.
Mike and Gus, they both kind of are working things their own way. And then Lalo's sort of out there. I mean, I did miss Nacho a lot, just because, he had a purity to him. And I think there's not a lot of pure people left in this world.
No, I really felt his absence in this episode. Like, I really did.
I think it's a reminder, though, that we're going to be going all systems go now for the rest of this season. We've got a few more episodes to go before we go on hiatus. And, of course, we will be here to try to talk through all of those. So Hit that subscribe button, everybody. Follow us on Instagram at Matt and Jess TV, and we will see you here next time.